And we can now discuss this issue further with Ignazio Corrao, member of the European Parliament from Italy's Five Star Movement Party. Mr. Corrao, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Well, prior to Rex Tillerson's visit, the US and UK failed to gain support from the G7 for further sanctions against Russia. Why do you think this happened?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me. Well, the first thing to say about this is that when something like that happens, and we're talking about something very tragical because we're talking about the using of chemical weapons, there shouldn't be a sheriff as the United States are acting. The big questions that we are asking is what are the United Nations for? Why there is not a big position coming from the United Nations and the Security Council of it, and what we should need before any kind of position taken like the one that we have seen from the United States, it's a serious and independent investigation coming from that body, something that has been missing. And the game that they're playing, because the response that we've seen from the States, it's something very dangerous because they're playing a kind of a risiko with the lives of people and with the balances on the geopolitical assets of the world. So we are quite scared about what's happening, and we were hoping that the Trump administration could have a more easier and closer relationship with the Russian government, and something that we're not seeing in the right way in these last days.
Well, as you allude to there do seem to be some inconsistencies regarding the US and its policies on Syria and Russia. Why do you think that's the case? Why now?
Well, I mean, we all know that there are many interests in the Syrian conflict, and the participation of the United States, when they come and they say with all this confidence that they know who's been dropping those bombs or who's been using those weapons, we think there's something dangerous, there's something too fast, and the only way to find a solution in the Syrian conflict is trying to find a real dialogue, especially with the Russian government, and not taking this big position against Assad, because this is not going to get to any real achievement. And that's what I was saying before. This may be very dangerous because we welcomed the new administration and the States, hoping that there could be a better dialogue with the Russian government in order to solve terrorism problems and the Syrian conflict. But what we are seeing these days may be something that could lead us to a dangerous moment in the European borders, because we are talking about the European borders now.
Okay. And coming back to the other point, looking at the Russian point of view, Vladimir Putin says the chemical attack was either a false flag or a strike on a chemical weapons facility by the militants, and he's calling for a full investigation. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, until there is not appropriate an investigation coming from an independent body, and we were hoping that the United Nations were standing for that, instead of having Russians saying something and Americans saying the opposite, and American going on action for that. We hoped that there was that kind of independent investigation before taking any kind of action. So we cannot know now if the Russian are right or the American are right, but what we can say is that this attitude can be very dangerous and is not going to lead to any peace. We know that the answer with bombs, with other bombs, is not going to bring any peace. And the only solution that we can have to the Syrian conflict, it's sitting on the table and try to find with the dialogue a real peace that has to be without prejudice, because it's nonsense that the Americans say that there is no future in Syria with Assad, and the answer coming from the Russian that the future in Syria it's only with Assad will not bring to a solution, and the solution is not going to be achieved with bombs, for sure.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much. We'll have to leave it there. Ignazio Corrao, MEP, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.